Hello folks, Why Guy here again. Welcome to my home on this very beautiful winter day. I'm getting used to this cold weather. Obviously I'm not wearing a heavy coat, but this sweater, this gift, is more than ample for what I'm going to do today. The name of this video is called The Why Guy Wonders If You Have a Beautiful Mind. Now, where did I come up with the title of this video? Have any of you, as my viewers, seen that movie, A Beautiful Mind, starring Russell Crowe? Well, I saw it. It's worth seeing at least once. It's based on a true story about a guy named John Nash who battled with mental issues where he experienced both auditory and visual hallucinations. Okay, now I'm going to offer, and this video is going to be offensive to some, but all I'm going to simply do is quote what the various definitions, encyclopedias, psychologists, and these people say about these kind of things. That's mainly, and then of course I have my own personal prejudice and beliefs, which I'm going to interject as well. So try not to be too offended, okay, about what I'm about to say. This man, Mr. Nash, he was a brilliant man with a PhD from Princeton in the 50s, all right? And he spent most of his career teaching at MIT. Dummies don't teach at MIT, I can tell you that. Anyway, this man was a prime example of, get this, no matter how smart a person is, they can still imagine things that are not real. And having a great intellect, it has absolutely nothing to do with hallucinations. Okay? Follow me on this. You know, he was a genius who had a beautiful mind. Thus the title of the movie, all right? Yet his mind often deceived him. He saw people and had conversations with them. But the problem was they didn't exist, okay? If someone with that kind of a brilliant mind could be deceived by it, then what makes any of us think that we're off the hook? Follow me on this. On more of a personal note, in his latter years, my very intelligent father-in-law, he was an electronics engineer, he would swear that he saw kids playing in the front yard. He could describe their gender, their approximate ages, and the clothes they wore. The point being, they were very real to him, okay? Yet no one else could see them. Even though mostly deaf, he could also hear music that no one else could hear as well, and describe the music. Why am I bringing this up? Almost every Christian I know has seen or at least heard of this movie and can also identify with someone like my father-in-law, right? So what's the point? Professor Nash brought life to unanimated, that's the best way to put it, unanimated people who didn't exist. And likewise, my father-in-law did the same, which is best described and defined as animism. All right? More on animism at the end of this video. But I first have to ask, do you, as my viewer, or do you know people who have a beautiful mind? Like Mr. Nash here, you know? Does your beautiful mind have you convinced that a devil and demons exist, or that you've had a demonic experience? You know where I'm going with this, okay? Even though rare, generally speaking, you're not alone. However, similar to John Nash, it still doesn't make your experiences real or true. More on that in a moment too. It's important to talk about the devil and demonic perception that is not rare, okay, but highly believed in and accepted as true by the majority of people. But I want to divide them in two different groups, okay? The beliefs I'm referring are not due to a personal experience. That's one group, okay? Like the ones of Mr. Nash, but it's solely based on culture and beliefs alone. Okay? That's a second group of folks. Two different situations here, okay? There is no tangible evidence or eyewitness testimony, such as there is with people who possess in this context. Okay, tongue-in-cheek, I didn't mean to use the word possess, okay? But anyway, who, in this context, that possess a beautiful mind, okay? These believers only, or only those who believe this way, however you want to put it, they do not have beautiful minds, okay? But superstitious and gullible ones at best. I'm talking about people that don't base it on a personal experience as Mr. Nash, but just simply believe it. You getting me? When religion is involved, those same gullible people are easily indoctrinated into doctrines about a devil and demons that the Apostle Paul explicitly warned us not to be involved with. There are two reasons this is happening today. First reason, people have been led to believe that what Paul wrote was about doctrines that came from demons rather than doctrines about them. And in context, it was about them. Okay, if you read it from a Going Greek Bible. Second reason that people are so gullible, it's also due to how the word demon was perversely written about in Scripture by gullible and superstitious men who are long dead. That's kind of pathetic if you think about it. Why have these modern day believers of devils and demons been so easily persuaded? You know, folks, I understand because I was once gullible in the same way. It required a lie to be built upon a previous lie due to an initial lie. The first pagan lie is the existence of a devil and demons. The second lie was how the first lie was inserted into Scripture. I'm just giving you a very simple way of looking at this, okay? The third lie requires people to believe that Scripture is without error, thus proving the second lie as true and not a lie. Did that make sense? Folks, this is not proof of the existence of a devil and demons, but only a delusional circular argument. Okay, as in using a lie to prove the delusion. No, wait, to use a lie to prove the truth. There, did that make sense? This is what is properly called self-deluding. Quote, a delusion is a belief or an idea that is not true. To delude yourself is to convince yourself to believe an idea that is not true. Close quote. You know, these kind of people do not have a beautiful mind, in my opinion, at all, but are unfortunately delusional. Now, that's that one group of people, okay? But now let's get back to the people who have beautiful minds and how they suffer from animistic influence. That term, animistic influence, was replaced by the word demon in your Latin-based versions. Anyway, animistic influence, as it's described in my Koine Greek New Testament. That's what they use in the Koine Greek New Testament. There are many examples of how animism is described and defined. Okay, now I'm moving on from my Greek New Testament. I'm just going to give you a more of a secular description of it, all right? From the Encyclopedia Britannica, quote, animistic beliefs were first competently surveyed by Sir Edward Burnett Tylor in his work, Primitive Cultures. Notice that word primitive? In 1871, to which he owed the continued currency of the term, close quote. Last set of notes. According to Webster's, quote, animism is a belief in innumerable spiritual beings concerned with human affairs and capable of helping or harming human interests, close quote. Now, according to how it's viewed in psychology, there's three. I believe they give you three different definitions. The first one, animism, this is the belief that inanimate objects, such as toys and teddy bears, have human feelings and intentions. We've all seen that from kids, right? By animism, Piaget, 1929, that's the name of the guy, P-I-A-G-E-T, 1929, meant that for the pre-operational child, probably means preteen in his language, the world of nature is alive, conscious, and has a purpose. Here's two. Animism is the belief that inanimate objects are capable of actions and have life-like qualities. That is what described what Mr. Nash went through. Anyway, close quote. Does a belief in Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, and the like sound familiar? Here's a rhetorical question. According to animism, how is a belief in a devil and demons any different? How is that any different? Think about it just for a second. Different than a tooth fairy Santa Claus. A child outgrows a belief in Santa, yet most indoctrinated Christian adults refuse to grow up. From the Latin definition of animism, quote, anima, breath, spirit, life, is the belief that objects, places, and creatures all possess a distinct spiritual essence. Potentially, animism perceives all things, animals, plants, rocks, rivers, weather systems, human handiwork, and perhaps even words as animated and alive. That is paganism 101, folks. Oh, anyway, close quote, before I said paganism 101. All right? Wikipedia asked the question of what is the best definition of animism? And here was their three answers. 1, a doctrine that the vital principle of organic development is in material spirit. 2, attribution of conscious life to objects in a phenomena of nature or to inanimate objects. 3, and this is the key, beliefs in the existence of spirits separable from bodies. Examples of animism can be seen in forms of Shinto, Hinduism, Buddhism, pantheism, paganism, and neo-paganism. Close quote. You know, I hope you follow my why guy reasoning and rhetorical question of why didn't the list of religions include Christianity? You know, that Wikipedia offered? Okay, considering how all of these pagan religions believe in some form of demons. All right, but my point, believing in demons is most. Before I move to that point, here's another rhetorical question that's popped into my mind. Are not demons considered spirits separable from bodies, as per the third definition that I just shared with you folks? Definition of animism? Anyway, my point, believing in demons is most definitely a form of animism. This video was just simply meant as something to consider and to think about. It's my opinion, that's all it is, based on my research. If you only believe and do no research, anyway, that's frustrating to people like me, who spend a lot of time, effort, and prayer. I got to be religious sounding, okay, for some of you folks, but for those of us who spend an awful lot of time into this, and somebody just responds with a knee-jerk, which I'm going to share. I'm going to quote somebody with a knee-jerk response only because they believe or been indoctrinated or deceived. Anyway, if you believe in a devil and demons, as I once did, then that's fine. Continue to do so. But only if, and get this, but only if it brings you love, joy, peace, etc. Okay? If it does that, go for it. If it doesn't, please contemplate the words in this video. Now here's a response I got. When I posted what I just shared here, I did it in a different format, obviously, because I didn't post this video, not yet. I will be, on YouTube. This is a response I got from a gentleman named Bob Smith. Whether that's his real name or not is irrelevant. He said, quote, "How can I unsubscribe to this site, please? Jonathan, you are doing more to tear down people's faith in God rather than building them up. You're not directing believers to the truth, but rather steering them into a world of confusion to wander aimlessly with no direction of where to go in order to have a relationship with Jesus." Think about that. You're setting roadblocks in people's lives, not showing them the simple truth of Jesus and his love for us, close quote. Well, I guess, apparently, according to this guy, it takes a belief in demons versus animism to have a relationship with Jesus. Here was my response to him in closing this video. Here's my reply. Rather than being accusatory, be specific. Why not be honest with yourself and the rest of us and admit that you simply don't agree, rather than slandering someone's character as you have done? It's an act of cowardice to put someone down instead of reasoning with them to find out what is their heart's real motive. Well, I expect the same on the comments below. Did you remember to do this? Did you give me this? Okay, please do so. Or that, if you're gonna leave a comment like this, guys, that's okay, because this really wasn't rude. Okay, it really was not by my standard. But if you're going to be slanderous, well, I guess slander is rude. Regardless, I might delete it. All right. But if you're sincere in asking rather than being accusatory, if you want to have a dialogue, then please be polite. That's all I'm asking. And then scroll further down in the Show Me More section. You'll find 6 links there. And consider looking at them. And thank you for viewing.